So what's going on, Babs? Alright, so here I'm doing a taper haircut. This is where you leave the sides. I'm just taping up the sides and the back. And you're gonna give them a line up. So as you see, I'm starting here. I'm starting with the sides first. I'm not doing any fading yet. Right here I'm using my T-liners. These will be your gray clippers, your liners. You're gonna go down the sides of the neckline. Just keep it natural, do not go far in. What I like to do is go behind the ears while I'm doing the neckline. I just go ahead and do behind the ears. I'm also taking off with this particular client. He doesn't cut the top, so I was just taking off some of the edges. Right here I'm using my liner to clean a little small area by his temple. This is where I'll start the fading. Again, right here I'm going behind the ears and just cleaning up behind the ears a little bit. You don't necessarily have to do this. It's just something I like to do in the beginning. And again, I'm just taking off some of the hanging hair over his ears. Depending on how long your client's hair is, this is what you should do. But if it's no hanging hairs, you shouldn't have to worry about it. So I'm using my T-outliners to create the bald line by his temple and his sideburns. This is just to give me a guideline to when I begin to fade. Just cleaning up the neck area some more. I did the other side first before the beginning of this video. Now I'm doing the back of his neck. You'll see me use my other clippers here where it's pretty much like a 1/16 guard, or you're gonna take your clippers, no guard, and you're gonna open the blade. Of course, you're gonna clean off your clippers before and after every use. Make sure you dry off the blade before you start cutting hair, or else hair will get stuck in the clipper even more than it normally does, and you don't want to get that stuff on your son's neck. So I'm opening my blade, pushing the lever down, and I'm going to go up about a ½ inch. You see I'm guarding it with my comb, and you're just going to go up in a quick soft motions, about a ½ inch up, all the way from side to side. There I closed my lever just a tad bit, maybe halfway, and I went up the neckline a little more. As you can see, I'm showing you how much I closed the blade. If you can see it, I know it's hard. So I closed it. Now I'm reopening it about halfway. So basically you're gonna create a line, and you're gonna take that line out using the same clipper, closing the blade just about halfway. Now I'm going to get one of my guards, which is the one guard. Use your one guard, you put on your one guard, and you're going to close the clipper, pushing the lever up. There you go. And another ½ inch up, I'm marking the line out with my comb. You're just going to go soft, quick soft motions up about a ½ inch. You're creating another line, but this one is darker than the first one that you just created with the open clipper, no guard. Just go up until you notice the ½ inch has been created. Always comb the hair down or brush the hair down to give you a cleaner hair surface. You don't want to bulk up hair inside of the that you're cutting. Right there, I noticed that he still had a little patch area where I wanted to make cleaner. So now I think what I'm doing here is using my 1.5, my 1.5 guards, which is a 1.5, with the blade closed on the clipper. Pushing the blade lever up is closing the blade. And another 1/2 inch up. And with this motion I'm doing, if you notice, I'm doing it different than the others. I'm using what we call a C motion. You're gonna come in and flick out. You're not gonna go in and stick. You're gonna go in and out, flick out. I'm flicking out. Just light, soft strokes, creating another 1/2 inch line. I think here I'm going to grab my 2 blade, my 2 guard, which is going to take out that 1.5 line that I just put in. And this is where you really need to pay attention to how much hair you're going up with. I'm not sure how much hair you're going to be working with, but just go slow and steady C motions. Just imagine the letter C, and you're going from bottom to top in a C motion, like sort of a 1/2 of a U. They call it the C motion. And this is taking out the bulk. As I said, this client, he has he likes to get just a taper on the side and back and leave his top nappy or curly. He likes the nappy look, so I'm not going higher than the bottom of his earlobes. If you can see look at his ears, notice that the fade is not going higher than his earlobes. If you're gonna do this cut, that is where you want to go. So now I'm using my clipper closed, blade closed, no guard, and I'm just taking off some of the hanging hairs, sort of like freehand blending is what we call it. So it's called freehand blending because you're using no guard. So now I'm using my number 3. After the number 2, you use the number 3. This is only if you need to take off more bulk. And I'm going to go in a soft, slow C motion again. You're just going to go a little higher, about an inch, and you're going to go in a C motion all around from side to side until the dark line is taken out. Again, soft strokes in a C motion. And you'll notice that the fade line isn't past his earlobes. Again, I'm using no guard. I took the 3 guard off just to cut off some of the hanging hairs from his nappy fro. This is only if you're going to leave Aiden's top. If you're going to cut the top down, I'll show you how to do that as well. So now I'm gonna get my liners again, I believe. No, sorry. So I'm continuing to fade, I believe. And this time you should still be cleaning up the fade. Okay, I'm using my 0.5, which is my 1/16. I believe you have a gray guard. It's 1/16. You're gonna use that guard, and you're gonna go back on the bottom of the fade, and you're gonna take out whatever lines you may see, and you're gonna open the blade and close the blade at the same time. You're gonna be using it in a open and close motion, and this is basically on your eyesight. Wherever you may see a line on the bottom, you're gonna use that small 1/16 guard, and you're gonna take out that bottom line like I'm doing right there. You don't have to go in deep, you just go in softly. Again, this is only if you're giving Aiden this sort of haircut, but this also applies for fading all around, if you were giving him an all around fade. So I took my 1.5 off, I have my clipper open, and I'm going up again like when I first started, just to take out more of that line. And I'm going to be closing and opening my blade at the same time. So as you see the line fade, or wherever you may have to do touch-ups with the blade alone, this is where you do it. Right here, I'm pretty much done with the taper in the back of his neck. I'm just cleaning it up more. I'm using, this is a clipper that's similar to the 1/16 blade, or excuse me, guard. This blade has a fine tooth on it, and it's pretty much like a 1/16. I like to use it because I'll show you here. If you can see how much space you have there, it's basically like using a 1/16 guard. You don't have to worry about that. If you want to take out a light line, or on the bottom, you use your clipper open and close it as you see fit, and use your 1/16, which is the little gray guard. So now I'm coming back using my trimmers to sharpen the neckline again, because after you fade, the line gets a little blurry. So you want to sharpen it with another line. You just go back down that same neckline that you created in the beginning. Clean the neck off, clean off behind the ears, and use your T-outliner blade to clean up whatever hair that's on the neck area. So as you can see here, I'm going back on the neck area behind his ears, coming down. Again, just cleaning off the area, using my T-outliner blade to just knock off some of the hanging hairs. It's just something I do to make things a little more neater. As you can see, I'm going extra slow with my T-outliner blade because it's super sharp, and you don't want to make a hole in the hair. You want to just cut like grays on top of the hair. This part you can ignore. Aiden doesn't have a beard yet. So I'm gonna start fading the side of his temple. It's pretty much the same steps as the back. So I'm opening the blade, pushing the lever down. Starting here, I'm just gonna fade up a little bit of his sideburns because he likes it to be blended into the taper. So now I'm going up a 1/2 inch on the temple area. And as I said, it's the same steps as you did in the back. You go up a 1/2 inch with your blade closed. Now I'm using a number 1 guard. Excuse me, no, I'm using the 1.5 guard, and I'm going up 1/2 inch. take off the bolt. Again, I took off my guard to knock off some of the extra hair he had hanging over. So here I'm using my number 1 guard, and I'm taking out the line that I created with the 1.5 guard. So you continue to fade out that bottom line. It's still going to be a line there, but you'll end up taking that out with the 1/16. I switch sides just to give you a better view. So I'm opening my blade, pulling the lever down, going up a 1/2 inch. I did that already here. So you just go up a 1/2 inch, pretty much like to the top, almost to the top of his ear. If you can see where I'm stopping, like at the top of his ear. Closing my blade halfway, taking out the bottom line. As I said, this is the same steps from the back taper. Using my 1 guard, I'm going to take out, close the liner, close the clipper, and go up a 1/2 inch from the dark line. Slow strokes, flick it out, go in and flick out. Kind of try to follow the steps I'm doing with the same motion. Basically, like I said, you're going to do the same thing you did in the back. If you're doing a fade all around from temple to the behind the ear, you're going to do this all the way around the head. Every step that I'm talking about, you're going to do around the head. So I'm just taking off hanging hairs. Going back to the taper, I'm using my clipper open to just take out the bottom line. And I'm going to open and close it as I go. I'm going with my 1.5, and I'm going to take out the top line, top bulk line, closing the clipper, and just going in the C motion, in and out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, until that line is no longer there. It'll be there, but you'll end up taking it out with the 1 guard again, and then you're gonna go to the 1/16 to blend everything in more seamlessly. Remember to always have a comb and learn to comb and cut at the same time. Try to have a comb in your, I cut with my left hand. I'm a righty, but I cut with my left hand sometimes. But I usually use my right hand to cut, so I would have a comb in my left hand, and I would comb with my left hand. So here I'm using a 0.5, which is a 1/16. It's the same thing. It's just this company has it labeled as a 0.5. Sorry. Closing the blade, pushing the lever up, and then you're gonna go on the bottom and take out that line. This is the 1/16 blade that you have. It's gray. And you're just gonna, I'm using it just the corners of the blade just to flick out the bottom line to make the blends a little more seamless. Now I took the 1/16 off, and I'm gonna use that to take out the bottom line, just any dark spots that I see. Once again, you're just going to continue to fade. If you see areas that are darker than the other, if you see darker areas, just use your clippers. If you notice, I'm using the edge of my blade to just take out a little dark spot here and there. And you just continue to do that until you're satisfied with the blend. So now I'm going to do the edge up. I'm starting from his temple, and I don't want you to do it this way. With Aiden, I want you to start from the middle of his forehead. From right above his nose line into the top of his hairline in the front. Do not go back. Keep the natural hairline. If his hair is low in the top of his head, brush or comb it down so you'll have all the hanging hairs hanging down. So with me personally, I start this particular haircut from the temple to the middle to the other temple. What I want you to do is start from the middle of his forehead, of his hairline, and work your way from the middle to the right or left, or whichever way you decide to go after the middle. So basically work from the middle to the right, then you go back, continue to line it up, keeping it sharp, go to the left, then you come back to the middle until you're satisfied with the line. And here I'm just using my T-outliner to take off some hanging hairs from in front of his head. So right where you see me started that, I want you to start the middle of his forehead, work your way up to the sides, and back to the middle, and then back to the other side. Yeah, my guy's falling asleep. Call me once you get this video, and if you have any questions, obviously call me and talk to me.